Yes, people tends talks back again. How to fix Chelsea Football Club. We're gonna talk about it. Obviously, BlueCo clearly they're under fire right now. We're slightly in the mud. What's going on right now at the club? Man just got popped 2 times in 1 week. Yeah, from Everton and Paris. Paris to Merseyside. You know, we got bumped both times. It's actually peak, fam, and we're looking in a bad position in the Champions League race and all these kind of things. We're looking bad off the pitch financially and all these kind of, situations. BlueCo are tearing the club apart, and the last video on the channel was me talking about, start to finish, off the pitch, on the pitch, how BlueCo kind of deteriorated in terms of their management and running of this football club. But now it's a logical extension to talk about, okay, that's how they ruined it. How do they fix it now? So I've written some notes down, as I did in the last video, like that. Yeah, basically, the point is, the owners, right? Obviously, BlueCo, the consortium that came in with Hans-Jörg Wyss, Jose Feliciano, clearly capital, Behdad Eghbali, and then they brought in the likes of Paul Stanley, Dave Fallows, Joe Shields, Daniel Finkelstein's on the board. Did I say Lawrence Stewart as well? I think I said Shields as well. All these men are basically the I think it's head of global talent strategy. That's what Stanley is. The strategy team, innit? And obviously, I did a recent video on TikTok talking about this, so let me make a little bit of an opener to this. Growing up as a Chelsea fan, right? Chelsea were this team that would hire a manager, back a manager, then sack a manager if he doesn't do well. You come in as a manager, we're going to sign loads of players, we're going to sign Europe's elite, or we're going to try and do this and have a high turnover of players. We're going to back you, you win. When you're not winning, you sack, we bring another guy, he wins. If he doesn't win, you get sacked. It's over and over again. And Carragher's basically making a point in the video that I was responding to, in the video that I made on TikTok, saying that basically Chelsea fans need to win. It's all that they know, and you can't do a project at Chelsea in a rebuild. My caveat to that was, I understand that, and that is how, and they've gone a bit too far with the whole rebuilding thing, but I just flashbacked to the fact that we played the 2021 season and we won the Champions League, right? Before that, it had been 4 years since we'd won anything with real note, the Premier League, right? And that last decade of Roman and Mourinho and all these men, there was still the sack back kind of routine. However, we were dropping in consistency. The recruitment was getting worse. The Zappacosta and Emersons and Higuain and guys that shouldn't be playing for Chelsea, Barclays and these guys were playing for Chelsea, and they were flopping for Chelsea, and they weren't performing at the level that we needed. That's why we ended up in the Europa League. And yes, we won it, but we ended up in the Europa League. We went in Premier League contention, and this is what went on at the football club. It wasn't the best. There was inconsistencies, there was upheaval, and it wasn't consistent. And every time we would sack a manager, it would be like restarting. That was the main thing. You sign players for a manager, and then you restart, and it's like, this guy's got one player that he doesn't like player like Jorginho. This manager doesn't like him, and this manager, it would be a cycle like that. And we were kind of craving the club to be more stable. And this club still isn't stable now. However, the model isn't ideal, and it could be better. But like, the idea at the time, where, to fast forward quickly from that kind of era with the Hazards and them lot to the new team, so it was self-imposed in terms of the transfer ban, but I don't think it was planning. We just happened to stumble across academy players because of the transfer ban. So we get guys like Reece James, Mason Mount, who help you build this mini dynasty that helps you win the Champions League. And yes, the year after that, is their recruitment that gets you the likes of the Pulisic, it gets you the Timo Werners, it gets you he didn't really do well, neither did Hazard, but they were part of the team that did win the Champions League, fair enough. Tuchel kind of turned water into wine with that, because those signings, none of them really did well. I mean, Chilwell in the end, Chilwell, I guess, was a success. We won the Champions League with him. Rudiger and Christensen, I guess, are guys that early on in the regime that I guess they contribute. So we did build a team that was Champions League winning worthy, because obviously we won it. But that team and the management of that team, I feel like Tuchel at that time, it just felt like we won the Champions League, and then the next season we were like, we want to win the Premier League, right? We didn't win it. We didn't have a summer that was worthy. It was a good enough summer. It wasn't good enough. And then slowly you start to see guys declining, and it started to look like that team was going downhill. So in the summer we tried to rebuild it and tried to add a little bit extra, but in that season you sacked Tuchel, you get Potter in, and even before Tuchel got sacked, it looked like that team, the core of that team, Mason Mounts and all these guys, it looked like it had run out of steam. Reece James started to get injuries, Chilwell started to drop off, all these guys, the guys we brought in didn't do very well. Cucurella definitely wasn't the best early on. Wesley flipping out, Sterling flipping how, Koulibaly was alright, but he wasn't great actually, and then leaves 1 year later. And we basically have to nuke that little project. We have to nuke the whole team. Clearly, come in through unforeseen circumstances, and obviously the first few years of Bowley, again, more upheaval because he couldn't get directors in. They come in January 2023, and the first thing is, okay, looking for the future, and then summer comes, and it's like, cool, we finished 12th, but you clearly need to rebuild here. We're going to nuke the squad. We got loads of sales, and the strategy and basically the whole model, which ties back into the point. I just wanted to give the backstory. The model and the whole history of the model and the whole reason why we went that kind of way is we needed to rebuild, and the feeling at the time was that we need sustainability. And we need a long-term kind of project. We need young G's. We don't need these kind of old guys coming in and then declining. We need a proper streamlined project that's going to do well, not just up, down. You win the Champions League, oh, whoa, we win the Premier League, oh, you know what I mean? So the young projects, kind of making it a recruitment team that is kind of standalone, and not making it be like manager, as soon as a manager gets sacked, the whole club kind of falls apart kind of thing. I understand the idea behind it. So I really do understand the model. The whole financial wage bill, I mean, at the time, the wage bill needed to be brought down. It needed to be, now they're doing a bit too much with it. And with the youth project, again, they're doing a bit too much with it. You still have to not be arrogant enough to think that you can build a team in a way that no one else has ever built a team and won anything with. But think, oh yeah, we're going to do it because we're just like, come on. There's examples, of bringing in these young talents. Paez is a talent for the future. Estevao, we managed to get him. We'll forever be grateful for the owners for getting him. Kendry Paez, Cole Palmer, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Reece James. Reece James is not them, but Levi Cole, they helped come through, but that's Cobham. Think of the guys at Strasbourg, what they've done with Strasbourg, and what they've built a good base for a project, but I think it's just time for them to let it go now, or to change this directors, or just change it a little bit, because we need to go a certain way if we're going to win, because thus far it hasn't reaped the benefits we would have hoped. And I understand the idea of it. Basically, my point is I see what the model is. I don't think it's change the model. I think change it slightly and improve on it is what we should be aiming to do. The thing is, for me, Clearly aren't going to leave. Realistically, they're in a bit of financial bother and all these kind of things, but I don't think they are going to leave. I think they can sell in the near future, maybe. Maybe we've got 5 more years of it or whatever. I think, though, we can soften the blow. AC Milan don't like their owners. I think even Inter sometimes don't like their owners. Manchester United don't like their owners. Arsenal don't like their owners, right? Liverpool don't even like FSG. But with the right recruitment team at FSG, even with the lack of money or financial, all these kind of things, being self-sufficient and all these kind of things, and signing good players, got them success. Arsenal the same. They don't like the Crunkies, but they had the good Alberto and Edu working well in the recruitment side of things, and they managed to still be good at football, regardless of what's going on off the pitch. That's why I think Clear Lake out, BlueCo out, yes. But first and foremost for me, sporting directors out, or sporting directors change what you're doing, alter what you're doing. This is how I believe we fix the football club, right? So I've written down things that I believe, sporting directors may leave the football club, and this is why we may be able to get the sporting directors out. This is why. If we don't get the Champions League, the reason why I don't want us to get the Champions League, and I'm actively not supporting against us, because I'll never support against Chelsea, but I'm going to watch the games and I'm going to be like, if we lose, cool. If we win and we get the Champions League, okay, I'm going to have to blindly hope that the Champions League gives you the opportunity to get some of the top players on the market. And I'm just going to have to hope that you do the right thing in the summer and you acknowledge that the season has not gone how you hoped and you just do the right thing. Or the more safe option for me is if we don't get in the Europa League, I feel like the Hederic Barley and the consortium and the private equity and all these guys, investors will say, big man, we're losing a lot of money and we're not got the Champions League, we're not got money there. Maybe we're going to have player sales, which would be absolutely awful if we have to, the backlash if they have to sell guys like Enzo Fernandez and all these kind of things, it wouldn't be good luck for them. So he may look inside and look for someone to blame, because we know what Igbali's like. And I'm using the fact that Igbali is a waste man against, for our benefit. He might look at anyone but him and anyone but the model and say, oh, we'll just get new sporting directors in, perhaps. Maybe. It's not very likely, but I'm just hoping that maybe if we don't get top 5, that's the hopium and that's the copium, that maybe that can, we get new sporting directors in, or the sporting directors just do things in a better way, Better scouting. For me, I think you can't be scouting guys scouting guys like Gittin. There's no issue with scouting guys like Gittin, but it's the decision to buy him for £55 million. The decision to go and get Garnacho. They've scouted well for Strasbourg. Again, as I said, there has been some success stories. Cole Palmer and João Pedro, guys that the Rider fan base were not too happy about signing, but they actually ended up being good players for us. Better policy with the managers. That's more so Ekbali and thinking that they're too important to go and get a manager that may demand too much. You end up with, that's how you end up with Liam Rosenior, PR Rosenior. That's how you end up with managers of this caliber. But yeah, better manager policy, better performance, better recruitment, better all these kind of things, better running, better results, better football club. It's quite that simple. On the manager, the thing is with Rosenior, he likely isn't good enough, but we probably will need a better manager if we're going to fix this football club. But I think for now, as I said, just focus on the owners and stuff like that. So yeah, that is that for the manager. But in terms of the fans, what can we do? Keep pressure on the owners. Don't sway away from the major issue. Don't start beefing in the fan base and worrying about this and worrying about that, and player A and the manager, owners, sporting directors, pressure. Make these guys know that we are not continued protests. Please, if anyone can arrange it, walkouts. I know that you have to go to the ground. You have to scan your ticket if you want to keep your season ticket. All these. If we can plan a walkout somehow, if we could do that. Just keep protesting. At least so they know. They won't care. At least so they know that we're not happy with what's going on. But they might see us as fickle little fans. They don't know as much as us, because that's what they think about bloody managers and the rest of the footballing world. Jokers. But off the pitch, sort out the stadium. What the hell's the plan with that? What are we doing with the stadium? Just because we know what are we doing. For the shirt sponsor, we've got ChatGPT as our shirt sponsor. We couldn't even get ChatGPT. We got IFS AI. Imagine, fam. Like this beautiful top. Man wanted to put IFS. Man wanted to put ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, AI, business, Sora, and all these man on our t-shirt, on my Great Football Club. Yeah. What happened to Qatar Airways, fam? Samsung, Heritage Football. If this is proper football betting, companies and all these kind of things. IFS AI. What in the woke is that, bro? Come on, man. Trust Clearlake to be the first guys to get flipping ChatGPT on their t-shirt, fam. Whatever, man. But yeah, off the pitch as well, financially, whatever's going on there, sort it out. This financial kind of stuff that is going on, people talking about financial issues, sort it out. We don't want that to become an issue. Communication with the fans, briefs, arrogance that comes through these briefs, and we know best, and this, that, and the third. Can we have some interviews? Can you, if we're so stupid on these things, can we have some interviews? Can you communicate with the fans? Maybe when Stanley sit down and say, Mando, this is why we're doing X, this is why we're doing Y, this is this is that. They did that one interview time ago, but come out and speak face to a camera like this. If Tens Talks can do it, you can do it. Big boy Win Stanley, you're a big boy, aren't you? Yeah, I'm sacking Rosinia, but I'm sacking Maresca because of this. We're bigger than the project, and the project is king. And Bechdad, you're a big man, aren't you? Yeah, you're quite big. You're a big man, aren't you? Yeah, come on the camera and be like, yeah, you get me? Yeah, man are doing this, man are doing that. Yeah, this is what's gonna happen. We promise you this, we promise you that. They don't have the cojones, blood. They don't have the cojones to do that. They don't have it, fam. Yeah, communicate with the fans. That's how you can do better for us. Now on to signings. Obviously, the be all and end all is the putting players on the pitch. Goalkeeper. Right, I'm gonna go position for position. Goalkeeper, Penders. What's going on there is I believe what's gonna happen is Sanchez, they're gonna sell Jorgensen, and then they're gonna bring in Penders as a backup. I think that's quite fast tracked. They're going to fast track him, which I don't think we should do. It would be nice if Penders was doing a Thibaut Courtois and he was learning off like a Petr Cech. But we've got Sanchez. I just hope, and the thing is with Rosinha might mismanage him in the way that Penders comes in and it's like rare. Sanchez not played well one game, so I'm putting Penders in, and Penders makes a mistake, and you ruin his kind of linear development, and you fast track him. That's literally the BlueCo way, fast tracking players' development and ruining their development. But my controversial opinion is that you can actually win things with Robert Sanchez. I think you can, right? He's error prone like many keepers, right? David Raya, error prone, right? Not best at the back. However, when we were profiling a certain way this season, where he's not pissing about with the ball as much, long balls, good passes, into the middle, not passing out the back as much. He gives it to the centre back team, and we pass out the back as a team, but use goalkeeper less, have him as a shot stopper, sweeper keeper, claimer of crosses. If the rest of your team is good, I don't think Sanchez will stop you from winning things if the rest of your team is good. So, Penders, Sanchez, what's going on there? Do something about it. Left back, I think we're calm. Cookie's situation needs to be sorted. What's going on with his contract? But I think left back we're calm. Gerard Hato is growing on me. So you've got the likes of Ishe Samuel Smith, potential Diego Moreira can come in. Valentin Barco can play there, but playing in midfield in a minute. But left back, I think we're calm over the two clubs. Centre back, flipping hell, bruv. Centre back, bro. I seen a report from Max London's First the other day talking about the likelihood of 3 centre backs leaving. Tosin and Chalobah in a bit of a crossroads where it's like, okay, you're probably going to. I expect them to leave. One of Benoit and Wes might leave. Josh might want to leave. Josh might want to go on loan, or maybe we want to loan Josh. I think we should loan Josh. For me, Benoit, Tosin, Wes, Chalobah, all need selling. They're all not good enough. I'll get rid of all of them. Antonino and Josh we need to assess Aaron Antonino after his Strasbourg loan. Does he need another one? Asamoah's not playing at the minute. I think we need to loan to a Premier League club. The only issue is if you loan to a Premier League club, he might get addicted to the playing time, and he might be like, I want to play football. I want to go to this club. He might push a move, and the club might tap him up, and they might try and get him on a permanent, right? So I think Aaron probably needs another loan in England. I think Josh needs a loan in England. So maybe you keep one of Benoit or Tosin or Wesley Fofana, even though they're not good enough, but backup options, experience options perhaps, right? And then for me, Colwill, and then maybe Sarr would be it. And then I'm looking at the guys like, listen, Alessandro Bastoni looks like he's on the market. We're probably not going to get him, but obviously that's a dream signing. Nico Schlotterbeck is another dream signing, free transfer. I've been keeping up with his contract situation. Free transfer, Nico Schlotterbeck. You could go and get him for £0. Another free transfer is Marco Senesi, Premier League centre-back, experienced, old. Whenever I watch Bournemouth, he looks really good whenever I watch Bournemouth, so I'm a fan of him. Jean-Paul Van Hecker, wow, that is another kind of in that tier of dream signing, because I think he'd be class for us. Really good free transfer, maybe that's a bit of a, I wouldn't really want to bring Rudiger in now, but decent centre-back options on the market. There's a guy at Bologna that people like. There's probably be guys in France, look, Bade, there's like Leverkusen, I think now. There's options. So sort that centre-back situation out because it needs sorting. I think right back we're calm. Gusto, though, I think is very average. I'm not going to lie, that maybe an unpopular opinion. I think he's sometimes good, sometimes bad. Which James is obviously the best right back in the world, in my opinion. For the midfield, firstly, what's the plan with Cole and Steve? That's what I wrote down, because what is the plan? Because you hear reports that Esteval, one of the reasons that he came to Chelsea was because of the promise to play in the 10 long term. But it's like, are you going to play in the 10 long term? I really don't think he is. I think they may have lied to you, brother. Yeah? Obrigado. I don't have to speak Portuguese, fam, but how do you say they lied to you? They lied to you. Like that. Because Cole, are they going to maybe move him to the right and move you to the middle? But that's not going to happen no time soon. The Bears just came to England, fam. The guy's just getting used to the rainy days, and he's getting used to the chase of fish and chips and beans and all these kind of things. Man's not going to play in the 10, getting man marked by Declan and all these, man. He's not going to play there, fam. I think he's a better winger at the moment. So what is the plan for that number 10? Is Cole Palmer going to play there? Is Enzo Fernandez staying? Is he going? Should he stay or should he go? Who are you bringing in? If you're not getting Enzo Fernandez, is it Morgan Rogers? Or, who is that? That needs sorting, right? What is the 10 future and what is the plan for that, right? And that would affect the winger scenario. But we got obviously Kenji Paez for the future. But again, we may have planned in a strange way where we may need to plug that gap or just leave that gap. for Kendrick Pires to prioritize Pires, because if we buy any tenant now, it's like, what the hell is Pires going to do then? And Cecil's at Strasbourg. I remember at the time we were told that, players and managers they can play well for Strasbourg and get a promotion to Chelsea. And it wasn't even clear when we signed Cecil whether it's for Chelsea or Strasbourg. He ended up going to Strasbourg. But a backup for Cole Palmer and a backup for 10. Even if we could pick Cole Palmer on the left for long term, we need a number 10. As far as leaves, we need two number 10s, right? Or obviously Cole Palmer can play there. But yeah, we need a partner for Caicedo, especially if Enzo leaves. We've got Lavia, Santos, Sugo. That's 4 deep line midfielders. I'm running an 8 profile, someone who's comfortable between the lines. So that can be or the 10. So I'd like one in that kind of mode. And then I'd like another deep line player, but someone who can also play the 8 role. The likes of Andersons, Tonali, Barco, Guimaraes, Fofana, right? All these kind of guys that are on the market. Maybe Camavinga, right? All these guys that you should look at, right? So that midfielder. How many times do you want to say right, fam? To the left, to the right. But yeah, left wing, right wing, as we talked about, Iliman Ndiaye. Skillerman, I told you guys after the Everton game that, this guy, proper player, Premier League proven, gets goals, good statistics, right? And he's technically good, just a great footballer. It's just tapping, Only thing is, how much are you going to have to pay? How much competition is there going to be? How much wages are you going to have to pay for him? But we've got the Senegalese tax, we've got Sarr, Nico's coming back, you get me? You can get me. Feel a bit. What language do they speak in Senegal, bruv? Speak it to him, sweet nothings in his ear, fam, and get him to come to this football club, right? Yan Diamonde, linked with everyone, Bayern, Liverpool, Man United, everyone, PSG. One of the hottest talents on the market, and he does look really good. He does look really good, that Yan Diamonde. I'm a big fan from what I've seen from comps. I'm yet to watch a full 90. Maybe I need to make that a priority to watch a full 90 of him. I watch all actions, comps, and those kind of things. You get a decent idea. I've seen stats and graphs and all these kind of things. Looks a good player, looks a good prospect. 19 years old though, coming from the Bundesliga to the Premier League. I think he'll be okay. His first touch and his close control is brilliant. But yeah, I love competition. So when there's competition, Chelsea are probably going to be like, oh, well, we can get this guy from flipping Rennes, whatever. A bit of some underrated ones, and I want to pose this question more so to you lot. Who watches Brighton? Because I should have looked at stats before this, but I could be asked. But who watches Brighton? Because Mitoma and Minte. For left wing, right, these are for just wingers. Because again, it depends what's going to plan with Cole Palmer, Estevao. They're going to move to the middle. It depends. So we know we need a winger of some sort, specifically a left winger. What's going to happen with Mudryk as well? Gittins maybe going to go on a loan. Is Garnacho? We need to see. Mitoma, I need to see his stats, his shooting stats. Does he get goals? Does he get XG? Does he get these kind of shots on target? The same way I analysed Bradley Barcola and Garnacho and all these kind of guys. Does he shoot? Because we don't want another Sancho situation, but what is his statistics like? Because obviously he's a good footballer. He can dribble. He's a good technical footballer, but I want to see, how does he impact game states? Is he a guy that has potential to blow XG as an impact-wise if he was to go and get him? How much are you going to pay for him? Minte as well. Whenever I watch him, he looks mint. That was so bad, but he looks decent whenever I watch him. And I need to look at his stats as well. And maybe these are little low-key options. I mean, it's never going to be easy getting from Brighton. And these men love Brighton so much. Go and get Jean-Paul Van Hecke, bro. Because the players that we get from Brighton, we get like one every summer. So they're three of our best players. Go get Van Hecke, go get Matoma. Bro, go and raid Brighton. Go and get Bart Verbruggen, bro. Get everyone from Brighton. If that's what you man. Oh, we think Brighton are one of the best run teams in the Premier League. Oh, we'll go and get Brighton players then, bruv. Because you've got Brighton sporting directors. You've got Brighton dinner ladies. You've got Brighton shoe man, kit man. Yeah. Get Brighton people, get Brighton results. But however, you get Brighton players and you get Caicedo, you get Joao Pedro, you get Marco Correa. If you got a Jean-Paul Van Hecke, if you got a Kaoru Mitoma, if you got Minter, a man like this, maybe even a Belieber. Some people like Belieber. I'm not the biggest fan of Belieber, but Belieber's definitely an option. And some people want him, Bart Verbruggen, as I said. But yeah, man, that's the wide areas. To finish off quickly now, the striker, basically just sell the lap. You can do Joao Pedro, Guiu, and Omega because they've kind of quit themselves with the plan in there. They've already signed Omega on a pre-agreement. Why? Can anyone tell me why we're signing Emmanuel Omega, right? Why are we signing that flipping Amsterdam Tammy Abraham, fam? Why? I don't understand, bro. I really don't understand, yeah? That lamppost, fam. But he looks alright, but he doesn't look great. We're going to have to wait and see what he does. Guiu, I'm a fan of. The lap's not good enough. Guy slightly may not be good enough. I think he's alright, but Guy needs to go and have a career somewhere else, my brother. Go and get a move, my bro. You're not doing nothing at this football club. Mecca is coming through the academy. He's not going to do anything at this football club. He can do something in football, but the way the club's set up, I don't think he's going to be able to break through, especially at striker. It's hard to break through at striker at Chelsea. Broja tried, Broja failed. Many people have failed to do so. Even like Judson Sabel and all these man left. We've got Dastin Satpayev. They're even talking about maybe he comes in next season, which would be interesting. It would be a big leap to have Emega, Israel Pedro, and fucking Dastin Satpayev. It'd be interesting to have him, see what he can do, because he looks like he's a quite decent little player, decent talent, you know what I mean? And what's it called? What's that brother's name, fam? Why am I thinking like we've got someone else? Panikeli at Strasbourg looks decent. You know, he looks like he's outshining Omega through his injury, you know. Maybe better than Omega. It looks like he's better than Omega from what I'm seeing. The guy looks cold, you know. Panikeli, could we maybe bring him in? The strikers that we have, that's why I don't think we'll sign one, because the strikers, we have all the strikers. Maybe we want some others, maybe on the market, like a Xerxes or something. I don't know, bro. But that is how I think we've gone through off the pitch, we've gone through on the pitch. That's how I think he's fixed this football club, right? I think it's doable. I think the thing is, Chelsea seems like such a dump right now, and everyone's talking about it as if we're completely finished this and the third. I think we are slightly in the mud, but I think it's very fixable. That's why I have hope that we can do certain things. So I just hope everyone has to have their fingers crossed that these men pattern up and do what they need to do, and hopefully these men just do it, and we bring this great football club back to where it needs to belong. Big up the flipping Chelsea. Everyone like the video, subscribe, comment your thoughts, share the video if you would like to, fam, and listen, big up. Tense Talks. See you guys in the next one.